welcome to Trashy Trasher, where we take a dumpster dive on this week's garbage people and look at all the trashiest news stories. My name is Erica, and I'm your host.
My name is Cassandra, and I'm your other host. Hello and happy February to all of those that were practicing dry January. You did it. Crack a cold boy for me, will ya?
Oh, absolutely. This year I did not participate in Dry January, but I feel like I do most years. But I feel like in 2023, I had just dry September, August. I didn't drink that much last year for just no reason. So I didn't feel like I needed the cleanse that I normally think Dry January is.
So and I love you. Okay. Let me just start
Always
that.
a scary beginning to a sentence from a friend.
I think it's just like, because I know that you're one of the people who comes to mind of like, who does dry January?
Mhm.
You and a few other people come to mind, but a lot of people who do dry January, they do, would we call it the California dry or something is what I've heard it's referred to, but basically you're not drinking alcohol. However, you are smoking weed and probably smoking more weed than you would have had you just allowed yourself alcohol. And that's where I'm getting a little bit of a disconnect because I don't do dry January. My dryness comes from like I have a mental breakdown like
Mhm.
June-ish and
Mhm.
like, really think I'm gonna get it together and I have like a dry July or something like that. I never think to myself in January like it's time to I'm gonna change my life this year. Like I don't know, it just doesn't work for
Mhm.
me. But like, isn't the point of being sober?
Mm-mm. See, you misunderstand. I haven't been, quote, so like, I'm not taking reality on since I got on antidepressants about a decade ago. Like, I am
Sure.
never doing reality raw dog again. Like, you don't
There's always a saddle, at least a blanket down on that horse.
I can't be bareback in it anymore.
Yeah.
As we know, my therapist said I am a master compartmentalizer, and that was not a compliment. So reality's already
So
touch base, fast and loose with me in some ways. But I don't do dry January to be sober. I do it to cleanse my body of the poison that is alcohol. And listen, is a glass of red wine good antioxidant? Blah blah blah, babes. We have to be real with ourselves. It's fucking poison. You can cold quit almost any drug. Alcohol, detoxing like that will fucking kill you if you have like a serious, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, alcohol is poison. It's wonderful. I love it. I have many cups to drink it out of. I have additives,
recipes, poison recipes.
poison recipes. I'm like a fucking witch with a cauldron. I'm like, ooh, if we put some edible glitter in the ice and oranges, it'll look like a nice little thing as it melts in my mimosa. Like, I am a fucking alchemist when it comes to concoctions and alcohol, but it's poison.
I love it. I love this stuff. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Love it. But no,
It's
it's
great.
just to get rid of it. It's not to be sober because I'm not. Yeah, I don't smoke weed. I'll participate in a edible, edible arrangement. But
Oh, I didn't know how you took it
yeah,
in.
can't be.
But so my mistake, of course.
Of
I will
course, of
say,
course.
speaking of consuming poisons, I did finish. If you listened to the podcast last week, you know that why I was trash is because I felt a little bit of remorse for never picking up juuling.
Which is you're trash.
um yeah, well, here we are.
Mm-hmm.
I did finish the documentary. And there was a part where I was like, "Oh shit, here we go. People are starting to get really messed up." You know?
Yeah.
And then it was like, "Oh, all of these kids who have these like severe lung problems, it's because they were taking the nicotine cartridges out of their jewels and putting in like weed cartridges. But the weed cartridges weren't made by Juul. Entonces, there was like some other stuff in there and
Mm-hmm.
that's what you can't breathe." So, honest to
You're
God,
back on Big Jules.
that's what's crazy. I was like, when is this documentary going to talk me out of this? And like they were like, because it was like really like, oh wow, here it comes. See, I knew that we were the human guinea pigs for this stuff, and then it was like, oh well, they were like modifying it, and so it's like,
So it's
oh,
their fault.
so then is it safe or not? Like, I know it's very addictive, but like, can I pick this up or not?
No, no. The answer is no. And here's the thing about Netflix and their documentary ethics.
Yeah.
Fast and loose they play with it. Okay, fast and loose is what I'll say. Like the documentary, did you watch Take Care of Maya?
No, I'm thinking of Hot Girls Wanted though, which was another one that I was like, this doesn't seem that bad.
You're like, I should do this? No,
Why didn't
so
I get into porn when I was 18?
so
Look at how much fun they're having in Florida. They all have their nails done.
did you finish it?
Yeah, I finished it. Hot Girls Wanted, it really that
Took a
one does turn all the way
turn.
around and you're like, okay, this is
Yeah.
bad.
Well, Take Care of Maya was about a girl who her name was Maya, and she had a mother who might have been practicing fictitious disorder or like imposed on another or Munchausen by proxy. And then the state of Florida did a medical child abuse investigation and basically interred her at the hospital, like took her out of her parents' care. She just won a $250 million settlement against the hospital system. But like, and then her mother unfortunately killed herself. But
It's better than Gypsy Rose where she had to kill her herself.
well, that's the thing is the girl is still like 100% like, yes, I was. They were putting her in medically induced ketamine comas in Mexico. So you watch this documentary and the way it says on this side is like, this girl was so severe, we had to do these illegal medically induced ketamine comas in Mexico because they weren't legal in the US. The hospital took her parents away, wouldn't let her see her parents, all this stuff. And then her mother killed herself, then they released her. And it was like, oh, but like when you actually look at what happened and the trial just happened. I'm sorry, this is so dark, but babe, her mom, I'm just like the way the documentary, you're like, oh my God, they're monsters. Like private, like this is privatized in Florida, the DCF basically kind of like, child abuse ward. And then it's like, no, that's absolutely like it was all either ethos or path. It was all emotion and like almost none of the facts. Very much like once I've actually read about the case more and like heard about it, I'm like, ooh. And I hope Maya does get $250 million. It must suck to have lost your mom like that. And
So
like
you're saying
Netflix is
even though it's a
ethics.
documentary, it might not all be true?
I that's wild to me. That's wild. But yeah. Anyway,
So is Jules no, never mind. Whatever. We can't
we
get
can't
into
get
it.
into it. Why are
Let's
you
get into
trash?
Oh, yes. Can you imagine? Like literally like that business they're going out of business. And like
Jewel?
they're also like they're kind of and they are also like bought by Big Tobacco. So it's like
Of course.
it really is a remote. I'm like, if I would have gotten into it back then, it probably would have been chill. But like now, it's not going to be. I have to stop talking about it. It makes me sound like a fucking idiot. All right, here's why I'm trash. So you inspired me because this morning we started a little late because of me, and then a little like a couple minutes late because of you. Very late because of me, a couple minutes late because of you and your fire alarm. And it reminded me of a time. So the year is 2021. I have yet to meet my husband, okay? And I'm dating. Gross, right?
Ugh.
I am having someone over for a second date. 2021, this is the COVID years. So like you really don't have a lot of like it's not like, oh, let's go get drinks, Like
No,
you have to like kind
your
of
pods are everything of who you're COVID podding with. Yeah,
exactly.
not
So
podcasting.
so you have to like make peace with like sometimes people have to come over to your house. So I'm having this person over and it's like the middle of summer and the power goes out. And I'm like, oh my God, my apartment is scorching hot. Cause it was in the middle of a heat wave. I think it was probably like over 100 degrees outside. My apartment was probably over 80. And so I'm like, okay, I'm lighting candles, which I'm like, really don't want this person to get the wrong idea, but I have no power. So I'm lighting candles.
It's not that romantic. It's what you want them to know. Yeah.
Like, but because the power went out, it was revealed to me that one of our fire alarms, the battery needed to be changed because a lot of fire alarms are hardwired and they have a battery, so like kind of a fail safe. So
Mhm.
when the hardwire electric is gone, now it's running on battery, and if your battery is bad, then you're going to get that constant beep. So at this
Mm.
time, I had RIP to my dog Bella.
R.I.P.
She could not handle the sound. I don't know a lot of dogs that can handle like the sound
Yeah.
of a fire alarm that's like dying, but it's like a very high pitched sound about every like 2 minutes or so.
Mhm.
And so I'm trying to shower and get ready for this date in the dark. The beeping is going off. My dog is losing her mind. She like the shower. We didn't have a window in the bathroom in this apartment or in this. Sorry, we had windows, but not in the bathroom. And she climbed into the shower because she was freaking out so much. And I was like, "Dude,
Aw.
bad timing. Get out. Like, chill." And so I'm trying. Like, I'm wet and it's hot and the dog is freaking out and it's dark and I'm like T minus 15 minutes away from this person coming over. And I have to figure out which smoke alarm it is. And I'm like, I have to get this handled. Anyways, this person is like, hey, I'm downstairs. I'm early. And I'm like, why? You
Why?
know?
You never be early as a guest.
So I'm like, all right, come downstairs. And I'm like, hello, hi, hi, hi. Totally normal. I'm fine. Like, just absolute frantic psycho energy, basically. Like, the power's out. The dog is freaking out and it's dark and whatever. It's hot. It's dark. I don't know. We should have rescheduled. I don't know. And this person, but I'm like, somewhere in my dumbass brain, I'm like, maybe they'll find this quirky.
The
Maybe
Zoe
they'll see,
Deschanel effect. Yes.
maybe they'll see, exactly. Maybe they'll see that I'm real for
I'm
this.
adorkable.
Yeah. I proceed to, I'm like, they'll think that I'm real for this, like aren't I quirky and fun? You know, I'm not acting fake. I'm not holding it together.
I'm
This person will
adorkable.
love this. Yeah, I'm adorkable. I'm Zoe Deschanel, like you said. So I'm they get into my house and I'm like, I'm still trying to find this fire alarm. I think it might be in my roommate's room. So I'm gonna just go in there really fast. Goodbye. And I have located the fire alarm. I can't get it to stop. And this person is now like standing next to me, being like, "Can I help?" Like, and I'm like, "How can you possibly help? What could you do that I'm not doing?" Like, I don't know. And I ended up literally like Hulk smashing it out of the wall and like onto the ground to get it to stop. And
It looked
I
super
was
chill and strong to your date.
it looked yeah, I was coming across really reasonable and well.
Just
The I'll jump to the end of the story. The next time I heard from this person was one of those, "Hey, I don't know if I see this going anywhere," texts. And me being utterly surprised of being like, "Are you kidding me? I thought that went great. I thought that I made a full recovery, even though in reality my adrenaline was like
Ah.
peaked. It was so hot.
Yeah.
This person had just watched me enter my roommate's space, destroy a fire alarm. The dog was shaking for the rest of the night. Like there was nothing like it was a hard sell and I wasn't doing myself any favors. But I was like, I can't believe I thought that went so well. I can't believe it. Oh, whoa, you just see me as a friend? Ugh, okay. It was
Fantastic.
not a good look. But hey, it worked out well because,
Worked out well.
you know,
Yeah.
I had to keep dating and then I
No,
was
of
able to
course.
meet my
Your
guy.
husband.
So,
Yeah. Beautiful.
where are you?
Um, so, I've been to the Walmart, right? I've been to many a Walmart. So I've been to the Walmart, I'm familiar with the Walton family's little tiny convenience store that they call Walmart Supercenters. And one time I was there, and if you've never been to a Walmart, they have rows and rows of sodas lined up where there'll be like 8 2 liters of sodas like stacked up in wire racks. So like long ways. Am I painting a clear picture?
Yes.
Okay. So I was there one time getting sodas for the fam, and I noticed what had happened was that there was a jam at the very back. So one soda fell long ways, which was creating all the other sodas. It was on a tilted angle, so none of them could come down. I couldn't get to the 2-liter Dr. Pepper I needed for the family. And it was up. So it's a stack shelf, so it's probably about 6 feet up, and I'm a cool 5'7", and I'm like, there's no way for me to get here because it angles down to where it's about your hand height where you can grab them, but the top where the blockage is up there. And now I've got to think, how the hell am I going to get these without calling an attendant? Because I will be goddamned before I call an attendant at a Walmart. So Cass,
As
when I
if
tell
you
you,
could, like, what could they do,
what could they do? I mean, they probably have sticks and buttons and things they could press to fix this. But I said, nay. I am MacGruber. I am Harrison Ford in Raiders of the Lost Ark. I will improvise this. I will fix this. So what I do is I find a 1-liter on the ground. Because of course it's a Walmart. People just throw their shit down. They're like, in fact, I don't want this milk. I'm going to leave it in automotive on a shelf with no refrigerator. It's Walmart. So I find this
Chaos
1-liter.
reigns.
It's chaos. It's a Duncan, Oklahoma Walmart. We're not, we're not talking the elegant bunch. This is not the Nordstrom of convenience, So I take this 1-liter, and like Indiana Jones, I take a stick from a broom that's nearby because a janitor was actually sweeping something, and I throw the 1-liter at the very back, and then I use the stick. Now I've got them fallen. Now they're no longer standing upright. They're no longer vertical. I've got them all horizontal. And then I use the stick to just like get them to come down to me. Meanwhile, families are gathering because they also want their 2 liters of soda. And none of them were fucking brave enough to pick up a 1-liter or the stick. And I have now become the Moses to this group of people. I have parted the Red Seas with the help of the Lord. And I'm like, don't worry, gang. We'll get our sugar water, I promise. I'm improvising this whole thing to
You
get this.
were Dr. Pepper.
Yes, PhD Dr. Pepper, because I was.
Wow.
And I literally get so many of them to come down. And then a Walmart employee walks by and doesn't offer to help or to fix the solution. They're just like, I don't get paid enough to fuck with her. Like, it was very much like, carry on, whatever. Like, do you want a job here? You seem to be good at this. It's just, I'm just sitting there like getting all these liters of sodas to like, I mean, they're all just trashed. They're shaken up.
Sounds
I'm like,
dangerous.
dangerous as all hell. It was so trashy. Me just being like, I'll save the day. These people need their carbonated sugar water. Come here, sugar milk. Just garbage person attitude. But it's not garbage.
Sponsors?
The fine folks that sponsor this podcast. You're absolutely correct. So here's an ad before we get into our first story. Use code TRASHY. Supporting them supports the podcast. Thank you.
Erica, if I can be real, I'm worried about the planet.
Hey, Cass, it's a comedy podcast.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, well then let me just jump to what I wanted to bring up. Have you heard of Sun and Swell Foods?
You mean the nation's first online plastic-free grocery store?
Yes, that's what I mean. I want all the baby trash cans out there to have a chance to shop the assortment of delicious, healthy foods in plastic-free compostable packaging.
I read by 2050 there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. So imagine if we had access to yummy, plant-based, gluten-free, real foods without the plastic packaging.
Well, Sun and Swell is a women-owned small business based in Santa Barbara who are offering people just that. Oh, and BTW, if you don't have access to compost to ditch the packaging after you're done, they have a send back program. They are not wasting anything, babies.
So, if you're looking for a more planet-friendly pantry, shop Sun and Swell and get 20% off site-wide when you go to sunandswellfoods.com and use code TRASHY at checkout.
That's 20% off your entire order when you use TRASHY at sunandswellfoods.com. Ugh, not another ad.
Sorry, Cass, but Mama's got to pay the bills.
Surely there's another way.
Oh, there is. You can subscribe to the Trashy Podcast Patreon.
That's ad-free episodes?
And longer episodes.
So much trash.
And even sometimes we release bonus behind the paywall only content.
Exclusive trash.
Sign up for memberships as low as $1.99 per month at patreon.com/trashytrashypodcast.
So patreon.com/trashytrashypodcast. Oh, that's fun. There's different tiers. Wait, what is this $200,000 a month?
Oh, at that level, we'll stop doing a public podcast and do a private podcast for you daily for one very rich, very cool listener. That's patreon.com/trashytrashypodcast and sign up today. And we're back. Hey, Cass, I just want to know, how you doing today?
Oh, God, so bad.
Oh, well, you're doing bad, and so was everyone else. The sweet, adorable 3-year-old puppet from Sesame Street known as Elmo tweeted on Monday, "Elmo's just checking in. How is everybody doing?" And the internet trauma dumped on him.
This comes to us from Jezebel.com or like a lot of other places. I feel like this was a very popular story. But I mean, look, I don't want to blow anyone's mind here, but obviously Elmo the puppet is not running his own Twitter.
Because he's too little, right? You have to be 18 or older to have social media. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got a social media team, and boy, oh boy, I don't think that they expected the kind of engagement that people gave to this post. But it's so funny.
It's fantastic. One person said, "Elmo, I'm going to be real. I'm at my fucking limit." Everyone was quote tweeting. Poor little Elmo.
Someone said, "Elmo, I've got a level with you, baby. We are fighting for our lives."
Elmo, we're one bad day away from moving in with Oscar. It's bleak out here, bro.
This is T-Pain responded and said, like, T-Pain, like, I'm gonna buy you a drink.
Mm-hmm.
T-Pain said, "I'm just looking for somebody to talk to and show me some love, if you know what I mean." Like, people were getting so real,
like,
with
it
Elmo.
Was incredible. Like, yeah, we trauma dumped. We did. Some people were like, dude. So Elmo responded on Tuesday afternoon with a I hear you post, and he said, "Wow, Elmo is glad he asked. Elmo learned that it is important to ask a friend how they are doing. Elmo will check in again soon, friends. Elmo loves you. Hashtag emotional well-being."
How else do you respond, you know?
What I'll say is that the social media team for the Sesame Street gang is fucking on it. Cookie Monster, best in the game. But Elmo's coming for him. We talked about Elmo last year with the resurface of Elmo's feud with Rocco, which is the Rock. His friend pretends it's real, and Elmo lost his shit on last year. Oh, great. But more Sesame Street conversation happened. This launched today, I believe, as the day we're recording. But Stephen A. Smith, the sports commentator, journalist,
former basketball player, I believe. And then I think his son is on the Golden State Warriors.
So on one of
I might be wrong about that.
Yeah. On one of his shows, we're not sports people. We just like Stephen A. Smith. He's funny. They were asking, it's a segment he does on his shows where people ask him questions on Twitter. And he said, "Stephen, who are your starting 5 from the Sesame Street gang?" So Stephen responded, right? And he first one up the gate, Cookie Monster. Because he's a monster in the paint, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
He then picked Big Bird as his center.
Smart. Tall.
He went with Elmo and Ernie, because I'm like, I feel like that's some synergy there. Elmo and Ernie, like they're just making passes left and right, no look passes, dunks. And then he went with Oscar the Grouch, which was a little bit of I don't know, an upset to me. I didn't think he had it in it. I would have gone with Bert myself because he's taller, but he completely snubbed Snuffleupagus. And I was like, damn, Steven, you're starting shit out in these streets.
Now, is it possible that these are just the only characters that Stephen A. Smith could remember?
No, there was a whole image. He even said no to Snuffleupagus.
Oh, wow.
There was an image of the Sesame Street gang, and he was like, no. And I was like, damn.
Snuffleupagus has like six-man energy coming from someone who, again,
He
barely
does.
knows anything about
He
basketball.
does have, you know what? That's a valid point. And you know what? I don't think Bert is a team player. So I said it. I said what I said.
It's just complicated to have Bert and Ernie on the same team because they're in a relationship.
Yeah, it really is. Because if one of them has a good night and the other doesn't, it's going to be bad at home. But you know what's good at home? Good for the home.
What?
Costco.
Yes, and this story pisses me off.
From the NewYorkPost.com, Costco shopper returns couch after 2 years and sparks a viral reaction to the store's generous return policy.
Okay, long story short, a woman had a couch for like 2.5 years, returned it to Costco, got her money back because she, quote, like, didn't like it anymore or whatever. She told her followers, buy furniture from Costco, girl. You can return it when you don't like it anymore. Okay, I don't want to get into anything else. I want to know where you stand, Erica Curry.
Sorry, babe, that's too long. If you just don't like it, that you're abusing a policy. Now, hey, the footrest cracked or we got a seam. Could we get a new couch cover? I understand replacing parts or something fundamentally snapped, but after 2 years, babe, you bought it. It's yours. Fucking flip it on Facebook Marketplace and get yourself a new couch, you dumb bitch. Sorry, I said it.
I agree because the thing is that like a lot of people were arguing in the comments and some people were like, dude, Costco makes their money from memberships and like, you know, it's fine. And like Costco can afford it. Costco's a big corporation, blah, 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 blah. Okay,
No.
fine. Then steal from Costco, you
Yeah.
know? But like,
And that's not an endorsement, but
no, it's not. And I love Costco. Don't steal from Costco.
we love it.
But like, I'm not trying to side with the man here.
No.
I'm trying to side with the environment. I think that that's fucked up and like the worst level of consumerism and just like, great, you had a couch in your home for 2 years
with
and
kids,
now
dogs.
Yeah. And you're just being like, not only do I not want this couch anymore after 2 years and I want it to end up in a landfill, but I want my money back for it. And I just feel like that's just you guys aren't I don't like siding with businesses.
I don't make me side on with capitalism. 100%.
Don't put me in this position, but also like you're not on the side of capitalism when you do this kind of shit because this is the kind of stuff that makes inflation go up and this is the kind of stuff that makes, you know, like consumerism even worse. Like couches should last more than 2 years in your home. You shouldn't change your couch out because you don't like it anymore. You should get a cover or something else because where do you think this shit goes when you get rid of it? Unless you resell it on Facebook Marketplace and you know it's going in someone's house. But where do you think that these things go that you bought 15 things off of Amazon and now you're returning 13 of them? Where do you think it goes?
Exactly.
Trash is where it goes. It goes in the fucking trash, but not the good kind of trash. You know, like me picking up jeweling probably in the next couple months. The bad kind of trash where it's a big pile in our ocean and our kids are going to all die, you know?
Yep. It just sucks. I mean, I don't know. There's just because you just didn't like it. If something was wrong with it, like, hey, can you replace the footing? Oh, you don't have this piece. Okay, great. Like, let's replace the couch or something that was fundamentally flawed. But just, I don't like. You know what else I don't like?
What?
I don't like social media trends that are dangerous.
From CBSNews.com, South Korean health officials for some reason have to urge that eating fried toothpicks is dangerous and don't do it.
Hey, we can't eat plastic.
These toothpicks apparently are made out of corn or sweet potato starch, and then they're dyed with food coloring, and so that makes them environmentally friendly and biodegradable. However, they're still like sharp. Like they still sharpen it.
Yeah. So, because they're made from this biodegradable, it's unclear if they are safe to consume, said the Ministry for Food and Drug Safety. And they're like, starch toothpicks are not an edible product. Their food safety has not been verified yet. Please do not eat, because these went viral on social media. Thousands and thousands of views of people frying them until they puff up in oil and then adding cheese or spicy powder before consuming.
Like absolute this this is psycho to me. Like
Yeah.
because
Hey,
just because the things are made biodegradably does not mean that like that's for the earth to eat, not you.
yes, yes. I mean, this is like well, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration had to warn people not to cook their chicken in NyQuil. Remember when we had to tell people don't eat Tide Pods?
Yeah.
Also, I saw a social media video of a woman adding Sprite and cough syrup and saying it's her sleepy time cocktail. And then a bunch of social media posts were like, damn, white women are gentrifying lean. I wish I had the user's name, but it's just no wasting food. It hurts my heart.
Well, you're not going to like this next story then from pix11.com because a New Jersey house was vandalized with pepperoni.
As an Italian, it hurts my heart.
That was kind of an interesting, like, kind of John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever sort of accent you just did.
Oh, thank you so much. I've actually specifically been studying that movie's accent, so thank you.
I really like that movie, but I haven't watched it recently enough to really put my full endorsement behind it.
Same, I haven't. Yeah, yeah.
But I got a DVD of it for Christmas as kind of like a gag gift because the DVD had a tuxedo on it.
Oh, I love that. Love that.
And
Yeah.
I watched it a lot.
Yeah.
So
Before we get into the story, do you remember the Reddit post of my boyfriend won't stop calling me Tony Pizza? Okay, so
no, I don't remember it.
so last year a girl went to Twitter and said that like her and her boyfriend, they've been together like 4 or 5 months, or she went to Reddit or something, and she said that some of our we give each other mean nicknames, like pet names, like Little Stubster, Sour Meat, Little Bird, right? It's like very nice. Like he gives her mean ones, she gives him like nice ones, right? So he started calling her Tony Pizza, and he won't stop doing it. And it was just obsessing her. Like she was like, he won't stop calling me Tony Pizza. And of course, the internet just went on fire, right?
This is starting to become familiar.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's giving me Tony Pizza vibes. Anyway, so the story. A woman woke up on a Wednesday morning in January and said, "What is it?" It was pepperoni. So she said to herself, "I am on camera, so I cannot say the words I exactly want to use, but what is it?" From the door to the edge of the porch and then strategically placed down the stairs to the driveway are 4 slices on the hood and 4 slices of the trunk. Just slices of pepperoni. She's lived in this city all her life, 16 years at her home here on South Street. She'd never been vandalized before. And she wakes up to 2 loaves of pepperoni in the middle of the night.
You know,
Just what a way to fuck with someone.
it's crazy because when you do these like random, generally harmless types of vandalism, it's like because she was worried that the pepperoni was going to damage her car paint and stuff, and like it won't because it wasn't hot or anything like that. But it is kind of like you leave a person wondering whether they have enemies. Like, it's not just like a
Right.
physical, like, oh, now this random ass person has to clean up all this pepperoni. You're doing some psychological welfare on a stranger. If this really was random, you know?
Oh, see, I don't think I feel like this is something deep. This is they were at a pizza party years ago, maybe even elementary school.
Oh, wow.
It was the time of the Pizza Hut personal pan pizza for reading a book, but the class got a pizza party, right? And they got a vote. What topping do you want? And this lady was like, would love just a cheese pizza. No meat for me right now. I'm a fifth grader. I'm not doing meat this month, And her class was like, well, we all want sausage and pepperoni. And she was like, no, we should do vegetarian. And the teacher sided with her. And so someone for 20 fucking something years has held on to the fact that they had to eat just cheese pizza one day at a pizza party. And they said, I will get my revenge. I will be avenged. The devil will dance on her doorstep one day. And this is what they did with it. I don't know. Maybe I just have a sadistic mind.
See, I like that narrative, and I do think that might be what happened, but there's also, I mean, you have to know there is also like a time traveler possibility.
You know what? Now that you're
This
saying it,
woman
yep.
if this woman would have gotten in her car to go to work on time, she would have ran over, or she would have like turned right on the wrong red, which would have gotten her pulled over by a police officer, and then that police officer, would have probably like um contributed to, he wouldn't have made it home in time to have sex with his wife, who then she got pregnant, and then that child became the like starter of World War IV. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that time
Her,
traveler
yeah.
had to like slow her down, and because they're time traveler and they're from the future, they're like, I don't know, pepperoni.
Or what if her being late for work means she didn't turn right on that red and didn't accidentally run over baby Hitler too? This could be negative time travel too.
Well, see, that's the thing, is because you never know what side the time traveler's on.
Yeah.
And like Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones, like there's multiple side. We can't get into it. I wish we could, but it's time for an ad break. Hey, do you want to start your own podcast?
Cass, are you breaking up with me?
No, not you. The baby trash cans.
Oh, so they should use Zencastr like we do.
It is so easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. You log on your computer, you press record, and you've got yourself on the road to making a studio quality podcast.
It's an all-in-one platform too, y'all. So you just create your podcast, then Zencastr does the rest, distributing it to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all other major podcast destinations.
Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code TRASHY to get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan.
That's Zencastr, skip the last D.
We want you to have the same easy experiences that we do for all of our podcasting and content needs.
It's time to share your story.
Again, that is zencastr.com/pricing for 30% using promo code TRASHY.
Zencastr.com/pricing. Use code TRASHY at checkout.
Baby trash cans, are you in the market to make your personal care routine a little bit more eco-conscious? Because natural deodorant is a great place to start.
Cass, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about Wild, the UK's #1 natural deodorant company that's focused on performance, style, and sustainability.
With 100% vegan formula ingredients derived from plants, Wild is focused on making their deodorant safe for the humans and the planet.
Oh, so no skin-irritating complex chemical compounds?
No mama and no aluminum salts or parabens. Or aluminium, since it's from the UK.
Sign me up!
Funny you should say that, because Wild offers flexible subscription services, or you can purchase one at a time.
Well, that's convenient. Oh, and it looks like Wild offers new limited edition cases and scents each month.
We love variety.
Go Wild today with a special discount of 25% off your first order when you use code TRASHY at checkout.
Go to wearewild.com and use code TRASHY at checkout.
One more time for the people in the back. wearewild.com and use code TRASHY at checkout. Let's head back to the regular feed. Welcome back to our regular listeners. We love you. We think that you're definitely more special than just being called regular. However, you did miss a couple stories. So please consider subscribing to the Patreon. I'm going to read a fan fiction that I wrote about one of our Patreon subscribers. It's something that I could write about you too if you subscribe to the Patreon. There'll be an ad for the Patreon right after this fan fiction. I'm going to say Patreon 2 more times. Patreon.
Or patreon.com/trashy podcast. You get your own RSS link. You do not have to listen in the Patreon app. You can listen in your Spotify or your Apple podcast app.
John.
We'll go over it. Anyway, let's hear this beautiful fanfic, Cassandra.
For Winston, life couldn't get worse. The grind of his 9-to-5 ate away at him slowly. The same songs on the radio became banal anthems on his slow commute, and his teenage sons Charlie and Mac wanted less to do with him than a heating pad on a hot day. It was Wednesday when he first noticed the dumpster on the side of the road near his house. Someone must have left this. Weird. It was Wednesday when he first noticed the dumpster on the side of the road near his house. Someone must have left this. Weird. It's a matter of days before it's covered in graffiti, he thought. Thursday. It was still there. I'm calling the city. It's an eyesore. Friday. Is nobody else seeing this? This is a nice neighborhood and I pay a lot to live here. Why can't one fucking thing go right in my life? By Sunday night, Winston saw the dumpster when he closed his eyes. By the next Tuesday, Winston thought about the dumpster while other people were speaking to him. By Saturday, Winston was ready to handle things himself. Just push it to the main road and the city will take care of it, Winston repeated to himself, hyping up his courage to take on this object that had consumed him now for 2 weeks. It's just a big, ugly trash can in my neighborhood. Absolutely not. Everyone else might not have a problem, but I work too hard and I sacrifice too much. As he neared the dumpster, something within him felt off. His mind told him to turn around and to go home, but his legs continued to walk forward. His hands lifted towards the dumpster as if there was magnetic shackles in his wrists. His hands lay flush against the cool side of the dumpster, and his whole body felt a lightness he hadn't felt in decades. A childlike wonder entered his mind. What's happening to me? He hoisted himself up the side of the dumpster. Nothing is going to plan, but he couldn't push it to the side of the main road until he looked inside. He lifted the lid and he was met with a song. A tear came to Winston's eye. He'd never have heard a more beautiful voice. He needed to be closer. His logic was waning. His nervousness of a neighbor seeing him on the dumpster vanished, and he climbed inside. He closed the lid on top of him, and at first it was darkness. He almost came back to earth and realized, I'm inside of a dumpster. But then, a flash of pink and yellow sunset-like lights came from the bottoms of his feet. A flash of pink and yellow sunset-like lights came from the bottom of his feet, and the siren song came back. And he saw her. Who are you? Big brown curls and even bigger tatties. An ethereal fairy woman reached a hand to him and lifted him to stand. The bottom of this dumpster floated away from them and they floated suspended in the moment. Why are you so sad, Bark Boy 69? My name is Winston. Your spirit is Bark Boy 69. Why are you so sad, Bark Boy 69? My name is Winston. Your spirit is Bark Boy 69. Bark Boy 69 felt fully conscious and awake at the sound of his true name. What was he doing? His life was wasted, day in and day out for his boss and for his taxes and to the government. He wanted to be a drummer, to dance, to travel, to paint. I can't paint, Winston said. Barkboy69, paint me. Please, just tell me who you are, where we are. The fairy held Barkboy69 tightly and whispered in his ear, "My name is Erica Curry, and you're in the Patreon." 4 years later, Barkboy69 remained in that dumpster, and while his neighbors remarked, "Hey, you remember our neighbor Winston? He abandoned his kids to live in a dumpster down the street?" And then someone else said, "It's LA, I honestly don't know my neighbors." But deep down, everyone inside felt envy. Winston knew his true soul and lived his days with Erica in the ethereal trash heaven.
Ah, ah.
That's what it sounded like.
Beautiful. You too can have a fan fiction if you sign up on patreon.com/trashytrashypodcast. All right. An ad for the Patreon. Welcome to the little segment we call We Cut That. These are for the stories that had too much juice, not enough juice, or it's all kind of really right there in the headline. So this one comes to us from the website formerly known as TwitterX.com. It's just a quick clip. It's a bunch of old Australian men being fucking pussies crying about their former boys' school of 160 years going co-ed. Sorry that women weren't allowed to vote or be in fucking school 160 years and you're mates and you didn't get to jerk each other off in front of girls back in the day. Sorry, that's mostly what it's about. It's just a bunch of old Australian men being like, "Can't believe it's going co-ed." That was more British than Australian, but you know what I'm saying.
What are they worried about? You know what? It doesn't matter what they're worried about because we cut that.
We can't get into it. It's just if you want to watch a bunch of old Australian men cry, watch this Twitter clip. Anyway.
From usatoday.com, a loud fart gives away suspect's hiding spot to the police. See, this is why I don't commit crime because I would be so worried about that.
Girl, I would hiccup. I would be farting. I would go doink. Oh, sorry. Hey, do over.
I would have to bend something over to pick up whatever gold I stole, and I'd be like,
I can't be.
I'm not a quiet person anymore. I've aged out of any sort of silence.
Winston and I were having a fairly serious chat about something last night, and there was a pregnant pause of just we're both gonna let that sit for a minute. And I had just had queso and chips.
Sure.
And damn it, if I didn't just, again, pregnant pause of let us both have that sit in for a second. And then it was just me accidentally ripping one. And I was like,
hilarious.
Well, that kind of ruined the moment. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, I can't be committing crimes out in these streets. From the NewYorkPost.com. What is Gelquin? Viral penis enlarging trend could actually make it smaller and erections painful. Experts warn. I feel like we have talked so much shit on having penises and why they're not good. We can't get into what this is about or encourage our listeners to do it in any way. So we're going to cut it.
Yeah, I don't think we need to, because what I'm worried about if we were to get into this story is that people would start jelking, and I don't want to be responsible for it.
No. I don't know what jelking is. It sounds like vaping, and we just can't endorse it. You on your big vape trend.
I know. I feel so stupid. All right. From KWQC.com, a World War II era hand grenade was discovered and donated at a Wisconsin Goodwill on Saturday. This we might normally cover. However, we already covered something super similar on the Patreon last week.
And it was a live grenade. We just can't. Anyway, we cut it.
Had to cut it. And then last one from the NewYorkPost.com. I'm paying my daughter $9,000 to move out so that she doesn't turn into a moron. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, whatever. Rich people problems is what it sounds like. All right. But Cass, are you ready?
I'm ready, babe.
Well, good thing, because it's time for the dumpster fire of the week.
Oh my God.
From autos.yahoo.com, man trapped in airplane bathroom nearly entire flight receives napkin scrawled apology from the cabin crew. My bad.
So, a passenger on a commercial flight of a Boeing 737 got stuck in the bathroom. This is the The airline is SpiceJet, which is a low-cost Indian carrier. And luckily, it was only an hour and 45-minute flight. But I mean, that sucks.
They used all their energy and effort to free him, but basically because of the predicament, they couldn't get it open. And so they just scribbled a quick little note to slide under the door. I didn't know passing notes were allowed on flight. Sir, we tried our best to open the door. However, we could not open. Do not panic. We are landing in a few minutes. So please close the commode lid and sit on it and secure yourself as the main door is now open. Engineer will come in. Do not panic.
You got to be told to not panic twice, you know. It's important to not panic.
If someone's saying, "Hey, don't panic," I'm like instantly like, "The fuck's wrong?" Like my cortisol levels have risen. They are rising.
I'm glad that they gave pretty clear instructions. Like, by the way, just put this toilet seat down and just sit there.
Yeah.
You know, like just in case. He was like, all right, well, I mean, if I'm stuck in here, I'm gonna try to shit again. You know?
Be shitting the whole time. I'd just be so mad I didn't get the snacks.
Can you imagine, like, you're like on that flight and you also need to go to the bathroom, but you're like waiting and you're like, man, this person like won't get out. And then all of a sudden someone's like, help.
Hate to be a bother, but the door jam. This is like this Spirit or this Spice airline sounds like it's like the Ryanair or the Spirit or
Yeah.
you know. So we're not talking high quality experience to begin with, but being
Yeah.
trapped in the shitter the whole time.
So are you blaming him?
No.
Like he should have, like if he didn't want to get stuck in a bathroom
Fly
for an hour and
Delta.
45 minutes, he should have paid for a more expensive flight.
No, I'm just saying like he already wasn't going to be getting the freaking Emirates or Singapore Air experience, you know? You're just taking a little, you know, a puddle hopper and, you know, under 2-hour flight on a cheap airline, and then you're stuck in the cheap airline shitter, not even the freaking, you know, United First Class, Air France. I'm just
That's a small bathroom, I'll tell you what.
yeah. They're like, "Hey, stay on the toilet." And he's like, "Where else am I gonna go?" It's not like there's
Can you imagine?
compartments. It's not a second door.
Dripping sarcasm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh God. They would say, I mean, just in general, it would be hard to secure yourself depending on how tall you are. They say you would want to stay seated on the lid while bracing yourself with legs against the jammed door. And
Does shit just go like bananas in an airplane bathroom and just none of us know because we're never in there when there's landing?
oh my God. Ugh, I don't know.
I guess you don't have a seatbelt holding you down, so like you might even like float up a little bit and you just like wouldn't know that.
Yeah, like one of those roller coasters where you lift out of your seat for a second.
Scary.
The Do Not Panic could be a reference to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's a genuinely good mindset to, you know, be encouraging, but there's a thing in the book series about do not panic. But I mean, it sounds like it's a pretty bad situation, and the flight attendants, the cabin crew was doing their best, but he did get a full refund, which is great. I would
The least you could do.
now if this were Spirit Airlines, I'd be like, that's going to be an additional fee because you didn't use your assigned seat during the flight.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it could have been a very, very bad. He could have gotten hurt, you know, pretty bad on the landing and whatnot. But I'm glad he's safe. But I love that this crew had to say, do not panic. Bless their heart. Anyway, glad he's safe, but glad he got his money back. That's for damn sure. Cass, what are you hoarding this week?
It's a little bit of a weird one. I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm hearing a lot of motion. Can you say a little bit of a weird one again? There's a lot of movement.
It's a little bit of a weird one. I'm not going to lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a type of ASMR that has come across my desk recently that I kind of like. I'm not like a huge ASMR person. It kind of creeps me out a little bit. But like, have you heard of wood soup?
No.
somebody or some people fill a bowl of water with like tiny pieces of wood, like little wood like blocks and circles and rings and things like that, and then they just kind of stir it around with a wooden spoon.
And
And it's
that's
called wood soup ASMR, and I can't figure it out, but it's just nice to listen to.
okay. Okay. Good on
You're
you.
not hearing me incorrectly. Wood, as in the wood that is building your house, maybe. Soup.
Okay. Hard to hear.
Give it a
Hard to
shot.
hear.
I don't know. I mean,
Okay, I'll look it up.
I'm not like it's just nice. I can't explain it. Have someone possibly explain ASMR and why it's good in general, but
Right.
like wood soup. And it makes me think to myself like a little bit, because you see like the people who do like the keyboard ASMR too, and that one's not too bad. And it's like, man, all I got to do is just take my nails that are done and just type,
Mm-hmm.
and I could just be an influencer that way. What am I fucking doing with my life? And or I could get a big bowl and a bunch of wood and just stir it around. It just makes you wonder.
You don't even have to put your face on a lot of these. There's like a ton of
Nobody's
like,
face. I don't even want to see your face.
yeah. I'm saying if for you could even you could
Yeah.
start an anonymous ASMR TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Just, just it doesn't have to be, what it is sexual. Just be take you out of it. Be like, ASMR Mama 69144 and then just go on with your merry life.
And just do something. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's weird. Anyways, what are you hoarding?
There is a queso brand, a at-home queso it's called Queso Mama. They sell it at Target. And it is as close to like a good white queso from like Tex-Mex restaurants that I've ever come across in stores. Queso Mama at Target. It's legitimately good. I was eating it last night when I ripped butt during our beautiful conversation. So it's good, I promise. But it's called Queso Mama and I'm hoarding it and it's really nice. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah, what are you throwing away?
Joe Biden.
Ugh. Bum bitch is asking me for money every other day.
I mean, really, like just texting me constantly, and it's like, bro, I don't want it to be you. Like, I want someone else.
You can hit stop, right? And they'll stop.
I delete and report junk.
No, you just hit stop and it'll stop. Just reply stop.
But what if it's a scammer and then I reply stop and then they have my credit card number?
They don't. Just hit stop.
Fine.
And then you can report if they keep coming. But just hit stop.
Well, I just feel like I report junk and then they keep coming in. It's like, what are you even doing, Apple?
Because Apple's not going to block. You hit stop. In this one, you're in the wrong. You just hit stop.
Okay, well, but I'm not bitching about him because he asks for money a lot, although I don't like it. I'm bitching about him because like he'll post on his Instagram being like, "Oh, look at all the growth in the economy." And it's like, "Fuck you." Like,
Fuck
you know
you.
how many people don't have
job.
fucking jobs? No one has a job. Nobody has a job, and it's been like proven that like all the inflation like is higher than it needs to be because people like CEOs are just actively charging more money than they have to.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's greed.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's this horrible war that I'm not going to get into at all, but like we all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Which one? How many of them?
It's just I like fuck you, dude. And where were you when we were all on strike for 6 months and everyone was out of work in LA?
Yeah.
They still are out of work.
Yeah.
We haven't recovered yet. I just it makes me so mad because I'm like, what are you doing? I do not like Trump at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't like having my hand forced to like vote again for this skeleton when like I can't think of a time when my life has been worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like when it comes to whatever, I'm throwing his ass out. Like, can we have someone else, please? Like anyone else who's not in their 80s?
Listen, I don't want to be an ageist, and I feel like I'm not about most things. In fact, I feel like I genuinely love the elderly, But when you become an octogenarian, I feel you're no longer presidential material. And again, oh, they've got the experience. Let them be an advisor. But if you're up there, I'm like, we're good. Don't do that. We're good.
You're making decisions that you will not be alive to see the result of.
I'm ordering for the table, but I'm not going to be here for the bill. So yeah.
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 I don't like that. I don't like it.
No. We'll have the 2 orders of shishito peppers. We'll have a tomahawk for the table. Does everyone want chicken wings? Tenders? Okay, fried mozzarella. Oh, guys, I gotta go. No. You're sitting here and you're splitting this bill 7
It's
ways, buddy.
I'm just like I'm too grown to be someone who's going to just sit out voting because I
Mhm.
don't like him,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm.
Because I know that that's not the solution.
Mhm.
So I just
But it's annoying that it's the choice.
and it doesn't have to be, you know? It's not
Mm.
official.
Yeah.
It's what everyone is saying and pushing,
Mhm.
but like it's not official. And maybe I'm hoping by saying that like because famously a lot of politicians listen to Trashy Trashy.
Mhm. Mhm.
Maybe someone will feel empowered to be like, yeah, this is kind of shitty, like I'm gonna try.
Yeah. Ooh, good luck.
I know. What are you throwing out?
Okay, we talked about smoke batteries earlier. We were delayed because of a smoke battery today. But if they're too high for you to change, like if I need like a 12 or 15-foot ladder to change a smoke battery, and like, yes, I'm glad that they're annoying because we do need to change them, obviously. Very good mechanisms. But I had to stack chairs, a ice chest. Like, I'm freaking Rube Goldberging my own death to change the smoke battery so I don't die from smoke inhalation. Like, there needs to be a better way. There needs to be a better way, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying put smoke batteries, like the smoke alarms, like on the floor or at like chest height, but there needs to be a contraption where I can poke from standing, swap it out. I'm just,
Some of them are just like if you have like beautiful, high, gorgeous ceilings like you do, that's great. But like it definitely was like, did you not think this through of like who's gonna be able to get this?
how am I going to,
And
yeah.
like I need to know that there's a fire before the smoke gets that high.
Yes. I would like to know if the smoke is hip height. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, Casper, where can the people find you?
I was at a neighbor's house and they had this interesting wardrobe and I walked through it and it took me to this very interesting place called Narnia. So I was thinking maybe if any of the listeners wanted to hang, they could come and join me in there.
Yeah.
I have a feeling everything is fine.
What's the rent like there? Pretty
In
decent.
Narnia?
Yeah. Property
It's
taxes.
okay. It's just
Yeah.
like I had to get a lot of money converted from
Mm,
like US dollars to lion money.
yeah. Oh God, that's
And the conversion rate's like not awesome,
yeah.
but it's worth it,
Good. Okay.
for like the views and the weather.
Okay.
Um,
Not bad.
where can they find you? And more importantly, no offense, where can they find this
You can
podcast?
find me at Iconic Erica Curry on any of the social medias that matter, mostly TikTok and Instagram. I'm not great at posting. You guys know. I'm on me. Who
You are
cares
great
about?
at posting. What are you talking about?
Thanks. I'm getting better, but thanks. But most importantly, you can find me on Poshmark at Iconic Erica, where I am a Poshmark ambassador. I'm selling goods, wares. I got great stuff on there. We're really killing it. But most importantly, with the podcast is at Trashy Trashy Pod on Instagram, TikTok, Threads. We are now posting episodes on YouTube. So audio episodes with transcription will be at Trashy Trashy Pod on YouTube. If we get enough subscribers, we'll actually we'll get a custom domain, but just search Trashy Trashy Pod on YouTube. Google Podcasts are going away. So if that is one of the ways that you listen to the podcast, you need to find a new subscriber. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on all the things. We're now on YouTube, but in March, Google Podcasts will be going away. So things will be moving over to YouTube for those podcasts. Most importantly, you can email us at trashytrashypodcast with why you're trash. Send in a story. We have a merch store, where you can support the podcast with mugs, hoodies, t-shirts, stickers, yoga mats, baby onesies, a new sled, a rosebud sled with Trashy Trashy Podcast logos, phrases, fun stuff at trashytrashypodcast.threadless.com. That's trashytrashypodcast.threadless.com. If you want ad-free episodes and longer episodes, go to patreon.com/trashytrashypodcast. That's where they're available. You can get a private RSS link that will send the podcast to whatever podcast app you're listening to this on. Currently, you do not have to just listen within the podcast, the Patreon app itself or whatever. Use code Trashy for all discounts. Supporting our sponsors supports the podcast and keeps it going. Whew, that's all. That's a lot of plugs. I got to condense those. So, Cass,
What's going on, girl?
stay garbage.
You stay garbage, girl.
I will. Bye-bye.
Bye.